of postnatal depression. We also make awareness of the illness, as we know, affects so many families around the UK and also overseas as well. It's remarkable. So it's gone back in 2004. My wife was actually pregnant. It was all planned. I was 30 years of age, and the birth was fine. Nothing wrong with the birth, but the labour was absolutely horrendous. It was after 22 hours labour. My wife gave birth to my son Ethan, and the doctors come in and they said, Mr. Williams, your wife's got an emergency C-section. Now, I didn't know a clue what a C-section was, and it was the first time I ever had a panic attack, because I honestly thought, the way they come in, the three doctors, I thought my wife was going to die as well with the son. So there was no emotion there. It was just like, this is what's going to happen, it's an emergency C-section. Now, I went to the antenatal classes, I went to all that, but obviously we weren't really brought up about postnatal depression and C-sections at that time, 10 years ago. So my wife came out and obviously gave birth to my son. And to be honest, it was like instantly, my wife was very clingy. She didn't want to leave me go. Went out to get a teddy bear for my son, and it was a case of don't go in. And it was like a switch. My wife is a really positive person, and it was a case of she run teams and done a lot of things in her life, but it was instant. It was like a case of she was a totally different person. So I didn't know nothing about depression. I'll be honest with you, I went home and things just started getting worse and worse and worse. Until the point that my wife was nearly sectioned, she was that ill, she was, and she don't mind me saying this, that she was, really wanted to take her life with everything. And I, as a man, I couldn't understand that. I thought, well, we planned this baby, we got married, we had fantastic jobs, money, not, the sales management, it was, everything was going fine, but it was a case of why, is it me? Is it me why she's depressed? Is it, does she want this baby anymore? Is it, I totally didn't understand depression at all. I was 30 years of age, like I said. So as we got on, things started getting worse, and to the point where I actually had to bring my mother-in-law to come to live with us. Now, I'll be honest, I'm still getting counselling for that now. Seriously, 12 months old mother-in-law. I've done a lot of things. My mother-in-law lived in the house, in a two-bedroom house. That was an experience. But I love my mother-in-law a bit because I went for her, and a lot of family support, and a lot of these families haven't got no support. I was lucky I had a lot of support. But I went from going to work every day, socialising, to I get my job. For 6 months, I was self-employed, sales management. I would look after my son, my wife, trying to get out of bed every day, obviously doing the cooking, which I never experienced before, that's another thing. Housework, it goes on, and then, not actually, worrying about things, and it was a case of there was no money coming in, so I had to worry about the bills. It was just everything in a short space of time. So within 6 months, I was a total, went from outgoing person to socially isolated. I couldn't even tell my best friends of 25 years what I was going through, because how could they understand it when I didn't understand myself? I didn't know what depression was. I was one of those people that thought, how can anyone get depressed? I was, like I said, I never experienced mental health. So it got to a stage, and my moods actually went from, like myself, smiley person, to even as silly as it was when I did go out eventually. Making fights with bouncers. It was a case I remember punching a sofa out of frustration and broke my hand. It goes on, and it's all in the space of 12 months. And I didn't realise at the time I was actually depressed. I was postnatally depressed. Because like I said, postnatal depression is always in the first 12 months. And we know it is a hormonal factor in men, but there is also looking after anyone you actually love. You're bound to have an effect. It's bound to have an effect. So it's 7 years on, and it was 7 years on, I was dealing with drinking, I was totally, trying to hide it. I couldn't tell not one person did I tell in that 7 years. I was changing jobs constantly. From that time I had a stable job, I was just changing jobs. I was going, I didn't have no enjoyment, even though my son was there, and I was, I worked in the youth sector. there was still no enjoyment. I was just feeling my moods were going up and down, and I didn't deal with the issues. Eventually, like in 2011, I was just sitting in the car one day, and I thought, what's the point of it all? I'll be honest, that's how low it was. I got to the point, prior to that, I wanted myself to be sectioned, but again, as a man, couldn't talk to anyone. I thought, right, come on, let's get back onto it, let's get onto it. And yeah, October 6th, 2011, I remember about 9:05, I was like, I was the lowest I've ever felt in my life. Because I didn't deal with issues from prior past. And yeah, I still think of that feeling now actually, because it was that time when I picked up a phone and I actually spoke to the charity which I'm actually working for now. And I said, look, I can't deal with anything anymore, I just can't. And even though I had a fantastic son, my wife, family, everything, I just thought I was better off they not being involved with me, I was that low, so yeah, so the best call it was actually 2011, because I actually got the help. Obviously, went to the doctors for my medication, and then the waiting list, which I'm still waiting for now. I'm actually waiting for now, So I got my phone on me now for the phone call, and that's 3 years down the line. Nobody's ever phoned me for that counselling. So, but I took it on myself to get the counselling myself. Took CBT. I learned about mindfulness, a lot of positive coping skills rather than negative, and drinking. And I went on to set up Father Richard. But the reason why I set up Father Richard, I was in a gym, and this is going back around about November time now. And I'd never been on the sick in my life. And the doctor said, look, I'll took 3 months off. He said, look. So I was in a gym, and this guy was next to me, and he was on the big weights. I was in the big weights, and he was a lot bigger than me. And I just started talking, I said, oh, mate, and I can borrow a weight? And he said, yeah, and we started talking. Never knew this guy ever. And he said, I said, I got to go now, I'm going to go to his postnatal depression class with my wife. I said, oh, right. I said, postnatal depression? I said, well, my father as well. He goes, oh, I said, I lost my business, he said, I'm actually depressed myself, I've lost everything. And this gentleman was a pastor actually in a local church. He was like, so we were just talking then. And all of a sudden I was having this conversation, and within 10-15 minutes his wife was still on, still waiting for him. And I said, I can't believe it, I've told you everything that I am. You told my best mate of 25 years. And we were connecting, it was just totally instant. So he said, I said, can I ask you one thing? Did anyone ask you what it was like going for, with your wife? He said, no, nothing. He said, I've lost everything. I said, I'm in primary care. He's actually in primary care now. And still is now in primary care. And so I Googled it, and I just couldn't believe it was nothing in the world, actually, for fathers, supporting fathers with postnatal depression. So that's when I set up Father Richard. My wife put the name. And within the 3 years, I've been lucky to go down the private notes and inspiration, Father Year and all this stuff, which is great, all this fantastic, and my media was seen Friday. But the biggest thing was, I couldn't believe it, within our time, 264 fathers have come forward. We then set up a support group, Facebook, emails, all these sort of things. And it's actually just last year with Denise Welsh, who's on Loose Women, Coronation Street. She actually came in last month, and I've actually passed on to Pandas now, which is I've got a national helpline, and we've got volunteers. So at last it is some sort of support for the fathers, But looking back at myself, what was so ironic as well, the CPN nurse would actually look after us 10 years ago. We didn't realise at the time that she set up an organisation for the NHS called PRAMS, and that's helping, so many families as well. So it was just meant to be. It's just so strange how it's meant to be that for some reason I'm impediment. But looking back on my experience, that somebody who's actually, I was like a lot of people with this stigma. I think it's the hardest thing with postnatal depression is, any depression is hard, but when you have a baby, everything's like, why are you not happy? Why are you not this? And I think it's harder. It's one of the biggest stigmas of all mental health, of knowing you've got a baby and why you are depressed. But I think, like you said, it's just a case of keeping on, and hopefully the next couple of years we're going to make a big change. And I think like Jackie, this organisation is fantastic. I just wish I could grab Jackie and bring it to Wales because I think because we need to just keep on going with this illness because it's not this illness affects the knock-on effects this illness is incredible. Now I've actually changed my career. I'm an advocate as well, and we were finding that it's women with traumatic births. And then 10 years ago, they'll have drinking patterns, relation problems, then social anxiety. So when it comes to treating the illness, they've got to treat everything that's left behind. So the basic thing is, what I'm trying to do is get into schools and about prevention. I think we always talk about crisis, we should be getting into schools and preventing it before it gets to that point. And let's educate people with mindfulness, counselling, CBT, loads of fantastic stuff out there. But we need to educate these children as well, because it's part of their education as well. And my background is youth work, so I'm open to basic awareness for youth workers, social workers. So I have some sort of base, not a clinical background, but more what is baby blues, what is psychosis, and so on, and the signs as well. So there's a lot of good stuff going up there. I know Jackie's part of the Maternal Midlife Alliance as well, and there's a lot of good stuff there. But I'm more hands-on personally, I'm rather more clinical. So I'm honest, I'd rather stand up and talk to you guys and on a more formal and rather than that sort of thing. But is it me going on and on? Is there any questions you can ask me? Because honestly, I'm not. You can ask me anything. Anything.
Can I ask you, how's your wife now?
She was, she's fantastic now. Like, to be honest, it took about 12 to 18 months before she actually got better. And what happened was, when she seen me ill 7 years ago, she actually had depression again after looking after me as well. So that was a big thing, So she, it was a big step last year. And, I've had a couple of dips in the last few years. And like this week now, I've just taken a big, watch my workload. But my wife's the same. She's actually working in mental health. She loves it, so, but she's a lot better, she's fantastic now. But it just goes to show that after looking after myself, after 7 years of getting better, it actually, come again. I think it was worse, not so much worse, but it's on the same level that my parents, coming from the valleys, it's very much, there's a big stigma, as it is, but from the valleys, come on, get a grip, especially the men. But everyone, I've embraced that, my wife and myself. And so many people have had ex-rugby players come on to me, international rugby players, just having a chat, and I just sort of talk with Harley Sydney now football club, we're doing things with them, because there's a lot of stuff with young footballers, getting rejected, and like Gascoigne and other things. So it's been a massive positive, like 3 years ago, I never thought I'd be standing here, in Glasgow, my 3 years totally changed. So I think on the negative side, on my wife's side, we both think, in a way, it sounds a bit thing. I'm glad it happened to us. Because it's really opened our eyes on mental health as well. And we're trying to educate more kids in the youth club and other things. So it's, but thanks for asking. She's better now. Better. Anyone else?
Do you ever have any more children?
No, we just had the one. Yeah, that was the thing. It was, like I said, it may not happen again, but it was a case of it was, even now when I do talks, sometimes, I just think that it triggers a bit thing, how bad it was a case of, and my son is fantastic, I just phoned him right on, scoring goals, football and all that stuff. It was a case I did one for my wife for it, again, and I was saying, it was a case it nearly destroyed us. We were like £70,000 in debt after giving my job for 6 months. I had a new mortgage, so everything went on the credit card, so we obviously we cleared that now, and everything's fine. And me and my wife both said that money don't really matter, it doesn't matter really, because looking back, we all, I was a sales student, running a team, and we do more things for free now. So rather than spend and everything, but it's a case it was a massive. I had a lot of support of families. There's not these families that were nothing whatsoever. And even my mother and father. In fact, my father actually, about 5 years ago, my father. What happened to my father was I come home from Christmas time, and his eyes was funny, and he had the flu, he was alcohol, and all Christmas like everyone does. And he was actually not a man's flu now, he had a proper flu, proper flu on there. And he had a big high fever and everything. And he was actually hallucinating, was. So and all of a sudden he was looking at bikes, and he put the pen and things, he went down the shop asking the bike killer. And it's funny now, and he even thought, yeah, you're really chasing him, everything. It was that bad in the windows and loads of stuff happening. So, and he's not good from the army, nothing. And he thought my mother was part of the IRA, we were going to bomb him, and So we went up to doctors, and he said, oh no, it's fine, off we went. And he smashed the house up. My father smashed, never laid a hand on my mother, ever. And he pushed my mother away and tried to jump out the window. And obviously for me and the rest of them, and took it down. And obviously because I had experience something like that, I thought, oh, it's going to be sectioned here. But what it was, he had a lack of calcium, he had a water infection, which is really high, flu, his temperature went high, and obviously alcohol in the system, and that actually caused him to hallucinate, and like 40 years ago, he'd probably be locked up for life, So it is getting better in certain parts, but like I say, my father could see from a background and think, oh, come on, what's that all about? He didn't realise it can happen to anyone. Anyone can have a mental health issue. If there's one person that, oh, I can't have depression, then honestly, just like I was 10 years ago, yeah, it's not true. Like I said, everything's going brilliant. Everything's fine at that time. It was a case of even last month, I could feel myself coming back into that sort of mood because I was taking too much on. And I was thinking, I'm just overwhelmed with work and everyone, I just come back from Marseille, decided last week, and I just had to get out of there. It was so many, just overwhelming sometimes, So just in case sometimes just knowing you need to take a step back as well, and that's why I know now, like mindfulness, CBT, and the counselling I had was fantastic. I'll be honest, if it weren't for the counselling, it's a massive impact on my life, counselling that, really, really good. But does anyone else?
One at the back.
Well, the work, is it? The work's it's funny because my boss, who actually gave me the time off, he experienced mental health with his son. He had PTSD in the army. So I was lucky I had a boss who actually understood mental health. So he said, look, Mark, just take time off. But I know a lot of bosses are not like that at all. And also, a lot of firms need to take responsibility as well. Coming into the call centres, and because that's a really stressful environment. But looking back, I think I wish I should. It's hard because I think would my friends understand it? I don't think. It's only I know out of the whole bunch now 10 years ago, 4 of them actually are depressed now, or being depressed within 10 years. So I think I would have gone into them ones. I don't think I would have gone on my best mate. I wouldn't have.
What about the doctors and nurses involved in your care? Could they have done anything different?
I think the doctors, what do you find with the doctors? Like, as we know, we only got 10 minutes, and I think it's the facial expression sometimes is a big impact. So when we got a doctor in there and said, oh yeah, okay. And it's no more, like I give an example, like I remember my doctor, he was playing a computer like this, whereas when I talk to youngsters, I always go to the side and really engage them. But in this case, like, there was no like interaction, and I couldn't really trust myself into speaking to him. In this case, like, all he said was, it's like, I think it's like GP, when they say, okay, you got broken leg here. Okay, 8 weeks off, and we put you on a sick, and then that leg will get better. But it's different with mental health, isn't it? It's a case like, when is it going to get better? It's not time scale. It could be like 2 years, 3 years. And I think, like you said, when they say it's a waiting list, why is it a waiting list? That's only going to be, but it's going to cause you more things down the line, like drinking, like drugs, social anxiety, relationship problems. So by the time they treat it in 18 months' time, or in my case, still waiting for the phone call, anything that could happen at that time. The bonding issues with the child, for instance, which is so important as well. Like, so there's loads of things that I think the government needs to think, hang on, as soon as our wife or the partner is depressed, or the man, instantly, let's get the support. Because, it's not rocket science, like the science today. It's probably going to save a lot more money by preventing it in the first place when it gets to crisis point, when they're back in primary care and secondary care. So in this case, like, let's get as much support straight away now, I think. But it's certainly with the GPs. I was working with my CPI nurse. She went on to set up, like I said, NHS PAMS, and she see my wife so ill that she went on to, loads of people in Bridgend. Bridgend is only a small town, but Cardiff and Swansea is nothing whatsoever. So I think it needs to be more awareness of this illness, because, this is among the fathers I speak to, I think I would say about 70% of fathers either going for divorce or actually, a lot of relationship problems. So, yeah.
Question, Matt. Do you think your experience of your mood and your depression was as a result of living with your wife who had depression, or was it because of the trauma that you experienced at the time of your wife's birth?
That's a good, yeah. I think it's only because if I'm honest. Yeah, that's great. If I'm honest, I think those feelings that it's overwhelming feeling, my son is fantastic, because I think when it's difficult, you think you hear all these fathers, these feelings, the son, and it's overwhelming feeling. I didn't get those feelings at all. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't get this instant love or, it was like, again, it's a stranger, kind of, But, and obviously, after C-section, I didn't get the experience of the normal delivery. I don't know what it was, to be honest, but I didn't get the instant, like today now, I told my son, even in a couple of weeks going on, I left my son, to be honest, but at that time, I think the panic attack was a big thing for me, massive thing, because I never experienced a panic attack in my life. Or when the doctors come in, I remember it, and it's a case that, I need now if a woman's pregnant, or my children coaches after just had babies in the last month, I'm glad it's not me. I'm glad it's not my wife actually pregnant again, So it's a thing like, everything was horrible. I experienced like 22 hours labour, and then, here's a baby. It was 3 days in the hospital. She never slept for 14 days, the wife. She didn't sleep at all. It was a case like, here's a baby. I wish that there was more like a male doula sort of thing, or like sort of more doulas women as well. So somebody like a father, so to explain what's going on as well. Because all the antenatal classes, I went to an all, but it was never really, it was just, I know it's changed now, like it's 10 years ago, but it was, I brought this up in London. Why aren't they male doulas, perhaps some sort of like father, partnership, so, at the birth, come have a chat, this is what's happening, that's like more down to earth feel, but it was more clinical, really, like the doctors come in and it's like, your wife's going to have a C-section, it was just no emotion there, and I thought, by looking at their faces instantly, I was worried, I honestly thought my wife's going to die, It was, if they said, look, Mr. Williams, it's a normal procedure, it is an emergency C-section, but this happens a lot of time. But it was a case like, Mr. Williams, your wife's C-section, and and that's what, that brought on the panic attack for me. So, I think it was a bit of both, actually, yeah. But it was definitely not going to affect, look at my wife, but, like I said, it was like I had to get up work, put everything on a credit card, the social side of work I was missing as well. I was actually drinking in the house, my mother-in-law being upstairs and with my wife and my baby, and when they were sleeping, that's when I would drink because I didn't have work anymore as well. That was my coping skill, like drinking. So it was just a really bad time, But like I said, I think I've learned a lot of this illness, and it is an illness. It's a case like anyone can have this, anyone. Have I gone too much?
No. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark.